Dad, perfect events. Just immediate family. My daughter said about Christmas, so I celebrated with someone else. I was staring at my bank statement when I saw it, a $300 withdrawal I never made, with my signature that looked almost right. Almost. I'm Harold Cooper, 58 years old, and I've been managing my own finances since I was 18. This wasn't some senior moment. This was something else entirely. The withdrawal was dated 3 weeks ago, the same day my daughter Joyce had come over to help organize paperwork after I'd mentioned feeling overwhelmed since Margaret died. I remembered her being very helpful, very thorough, too thorough maybe. I set the statement down and poured another cup of coffee. Outside my kitchen window, the December rain was coming down steady, the kind of Pacific Northwest winter that makes you want to stay inside and avoid difficult truths. But I couldn't avoid this one. My phone buzzed, a text from Joyce. Dad, about Christmas. Norman's mom isn't doing well. We're spending it at their place in Beaverton. Just immediate family. You understand? I read it twice. Then I looked back at the bank statement, at that almost right signature, and suddenly Christmas didn't seem like my biggest problem. I typed back, of course. Take care. That was 3 weeks ago. Now I'm standing in Beverly Walsh's living room in Northwest Portland, watching her adjust the lights on a 9-foot Douglas fir, while her daughter argues with her son about whether the star goes on before or after the garland. There's a fire in the fireplace. Someone's making hot cider in the kitchen. And for the first time in 2 years since Margaret died, I don't feel like I'm intruding on someone else's Christmas. Harold, tell them, Beverly says, turning to me with that smile that still catches me off guard. The star goes on last, right? I'm staying out of this, I say, holding up my hands. I'm just here for the cider. Her son Arthur laughs. Smart man. But I'm not here just for the cider. I'm here because 2 months ago, at a photography workshop at the Japanese garden, Beverly sat next to me and asked what I was trying to capture. And when I fumbled through some explanation about light and shadow, she'd nodded like I'd said something profound. We'd gotten coffee after. Then dinner. Then this became something I didn't have a name for yet, but something that made me feel like myself again. The phone call from Joyce came the next morning, December 15th, earlier than she usually called on Sundays. Dad, hi. Quick question. I was at my kitchen table with coffee and the Oregonian, still thinking about that bank statement I'd found the week before, still trying to convince myself there was an innocent explanation. Good morning to you too. Sorry. Yeah, good morning. Listen, I was talking to Norman, and we were thinking for Christmas, maybe you could come over on the 26th instead. The 25th is just crazy with the kids and Norman's family. And you know how his mother gets. I knew how Norman's mother got. I'd met her twice. She seemed perfectly pleasant. This wasn't about Norman's mother. What time on the 26th, I asked. Maybe around 3. We'll save you some leftovers. Leftovers. On December 26th. I looked at my reflection in the dark window above the sink. 58 years old, 2 years widowed, and my daughter was offering me leftover turkey the day after Christmas. Actually, Joyce, I have plans. Silence. Then, plans. I'm spending Christmas with friends. What friends? It was the tone that did it. Not curiosity, suspicion. Like I just told her I was spending Christmas with the mob. Just friends, I said. People from my photography club. You're in a photography club? Since when? 4 months now. Another pause. I didn't know that. I didn't know I needed to report my activities. That's not what I meant, Dad. It's just, you never mentioned it. Because you never asked, I thought. But what I said was, it's been good for me. Gets me out of the house. That's great, Dad. Really. But Christmas with strangers? Come on. They're not strangers, Joyce. That tone again. The one that made me feel like I was the child and she was the parent. Norman and I talked, and we really think it would be better if you came on the 26th. Christmas Day is family time. I watched a crow land on the fence in my backyard. Margaret used to love crows. Said they were smarter than most people gave them credit for. You're right, I said. Christmas Day is family time. That's why I'm spending it with people who actually want me there. Dad, I need to go, Joyce. I'll talk to you later. I hung up. My hand was shaking. Not from anger, from something else. Something that felt like standing up after sitting too long. When your legs aren't quite sure they still work. She called back twice. I didn't answer. She texted, Dad, don't be like this. I didn't respond, but something was bothering me. Something about the way Joyce had been acting lately, not just the Christmas thing. Over. The past 6 months, she'd been asking weird questions about my finances. How's your 401k doing, Dad? Do you think you'll need to downsize the house? Have you thought about what you want us to do if something happens to you? And then there was the $15,000. In July, Joyce had called with this sob story about Norman's job being in jeopardy and needing help with the mortgage. I'd transferred the money the same day. That was 5 months ago. Every time I brought it up, she had another excuse about why she couldn't pay it back yet. And now there was that withdrawal, that almost right signature. Something wasn't adding up. Beverly picked me up at 10 a.m. on Christmas morning. She was wearing a red sweater and had a Santa hat tilted on her head. When I opened the door, she handed me a matching hat. Not negotiable, she said. I don't do hats. Today you do. Her house was full by noon. Arthur and his wife and their 2 kids. Beverly's daughter Dorothy and her boyfriend. 2 couples from the photography club. A neighbor who was 87 and told inappropriate jokes. It was loud and chaotic and wonderful. Beverly's grandson showed me his new telescope. Dorothy asked about my camera and actually listened when I explained the new lens I'd bought. We ate ham and scalloped potatoes and green beans with almonds. Someone had made 3 kinds of pie. At 2 p.m., Arthur suggested a group photo. Everyone squeeze in. Harold, you too, right next to Mom. Beverly pulled me into the frame. Her arm around my waist felt natural, easy, like we'd been doing this for years. Arthur took about 15 photos. Got it. I'll send them to everyone. Send them to me first, Beverly said. I want to post one. Mom's Instagram famous now, Dorothy teased. Hardly, but I like sharing the good days. At 6 p.m., Beverly and I were doing dishes while everyone else had migrated to the living room for a movie. She was washing, I was drying. My phone was on the counter. It started buzzing. Once, twice, 3 times, 4. I glanced at it. All from Joyce. Beverly noticed. You can get that. It's fine. Is it your daughter? I'd told her about Joyce, about the Christmas invitation that wasn't really an invitation, about the last 2 years of increasingly obvious hints that I was becoming an obligation rather than a priority. Yeah, she probably wants to say Merry Christmas, but when I finally checked, the messages weren't Merry Christmas. Dad, call me. Dad, we need to talk. Why is your phone off? Who is that woman? The last one came with a screenshot. Beverly's Instagram. The photo from this afternoon. All of us around the table. Beverly's arm around me, both of us smiling. The caption read, "Grateful for family, friends, and second chances. Merry Christmas from our home to yours." I showed Beverly. She looked at it, then at me. Is that a problem? I don't know yet. The phone rang. Joyce. I stepped out onto the back porch to answer. Dad, who is she? Merry Christmas, Joyce. Don't. Who is the woman? In the photo? Her name is Beverly. She's a friend? A friend? You're wearing matching Santa hats. She has a sense of humor. How long have you known her? Why does that matter? Because you're my father, and I don't know anything about your life, apparently. I watch the neighbors' Christmas lights blink on and off. Red, green, white. Repeat. You know what you ask about Joyce. You haven't asked about my life in 2 years. That's not fair, isn't it? When's the last time you asked me how I'm doing? Not, are you okay, Dad? Because that's just checking a box. When did you last ask me what I've been doing, what I'm interested in, if I'm happy? Silence. I'll tell you, I continued. Margaret's funeral. You asked me then. And then you went back to your life, and I became someone you texted on holidays and visited when it was convenient. Dad, we're busy. The kids, Norman's job, my job. I know everyone's busy. I'm not angry about that, Joyce. I'm really not. But don't act shocked that I've built a life you don't know about when you stopped being curious about my life years ago. Are you dating her? Does it matter? Of course it matters. Mom's only been gone 2 years. And there it was. The real issue. Not that I hadn't told her about Beverly, that Beverly existed at all. Your mother, I said carefully, died 2 years and 4 months ago. And before she died, she made me promise I wouldn't spend the rest of my life alone. She made me promise I'd find a reason to smile again. I can't believe you're using Mom to justify this. I'm not justifying anything. I don't need to justify being happy. Who is she? Where did you meet her? What does she do? Does she have kids? Is she after your money? I almost laughed at that last one. She's a retired principal. We met at a photography workshop. She has 2 kids, both adults, and she has her own money, Joyce. More than I do, probably. She's owned a house in Northwest Portland for 30 years. How long have you been seeing her? 2 months. 2 months? And you didn't tell me. When would I have told you? You don't call, you don't visit. The last time I saw you was Thanksgiving, and you spent the entire dinner on your phone dealing with some work crisis. That was important. And this isn't? The fact that I'm happy isn't important? She didn't answer that. I could hear Norman in the background asking what was wrong. I have to go, Joyce said. We'll talk about this later. There's nothing to talk about, Joyce. Merry Christmas. I hung up again. My hands weren't shaking this time. When I went back inside, Beverly was making coffee. She looked up. Everything okay? No, but it will be. You want to talk about it? Not tonight. Tonight I just want to be here. She nodded, handed me a mug. Then be here. The next morning, my phone had 17 text messages. 14 from Joyce, 3 from my son, Leonard, in Chicago. Leonard's were simple. Joyce called me. She's freaking out. Good for you, Dad. Joyce's were less simple. They ranged. From, I'm worried about you two. How could you do this to Mom's memory? To Norman thinks you're being manipulated too. The kids are asking why you weren't here for Christmas. That last one got me. Because the kids hadn't asked. Joyce had. And she was using them as weapons. I called Leonard first. Hey, Dad. Merry Christmas a day late. Merry Christmas. You talked to your sister? Oh, yeah. Hour-long call. She's convinced this Beverly woman is a gold digger preying on vulnerable widowers. I'm not vulnerable. And Beverly owns her house outright. I told her that. She didn't want to hear it. Dad, level with me. Are you happy? I am. Then screw what Joyce thinks. You've been alone too long. Mom wouldn't want that. That's what I told Joyce. She's not ready to hear it. Give her time. Or don't. You don't owe her your loneliness. I'd never loved my son more than in that moment. Joyce called at 10 a.m. I let it ring. She called again at 11 and noon and 2 p.m. At 3 p.m., she texted, I'm driving. Down. We need to talk face to face. I replied, no, I'm coming anyway. I'll be there by 6. That's when I made a decision that would change everything. Instead of just waiting for Joyce to arrive and have another argument, I decided to do something I'd never done before. I called my bank. I need to speak to someone about some unusual activity on my account, I told them. While I waited for Joyce to drive down from Seattle, I spent 3 hours on the phone with the bank, going through every transaction from the past 6 months. What I found made my stomach drop. There were withdrawals I didn't remember making. Small ones, $200 here, $300 there, always just under the amount that would trigger a call from the bank. And they all happened on days when Joyce had been at my house, supposedly helping me organize paperwork. By the time Joyce's car pulled into my driveway at 6:15 p.m., I had copies of every forged withdrawal slip emailed to me. I had documentation of a pattern that went back 8 months, and I had a recorder app ready on my phone, because Margaret always said I was too trusting for my own good. But I wasn't going to be that trusting anymore. Joyce let herself in with the key she'd had since college. I was in the living room waiting, my phone in my pocket, recording app already running. Dad, Joyce. She looked around. Place looks different. I'd redecorated. Not everything, but enough. New curtains, new couch. The photos of Margaret were still up, but I'd added other photos too. From my photography club, from the coast, from the Japanese garden. I've been making some changes, I said. She sat down without being asked. We need to talk, I figured. Who is Beverly? I'd prepared for this part. She's someone I met through photography. We became friends. Now we're seeing where it goes. You barely knew Mom before you married her. I knew your mother for 2 years before I proposed. And you've known this woman for 2 months. I'm not proposing. I'm having dinner. With her. There's a difference. She's all over your social media now. I looked at your Facebook. You've been posting photos from trips. When did you go to the coast? October. With her? With the photography group? She was part of the group. You went to Cannon Beach and didn't tell me. Joyce, I haven't told you about most of my life for 2 years because you haven't asked. That's not me hiding things. That's you not being curious. She flinched. That's not fair. It's completely fair. When's the last time you asked me a question about my day that wasn't just checking to see if I was still alive? I've been busy, I know. Everyone's busy. but busy isn't the same as absent. She stood up, started pacing. Norman thinks she's taking advantage of you. Norman's never met her. He doesn't need to. He knows the type. Older women who target widowers with money. I don't have money, Joyce. I have a pension and some savings, and this house. That's it. Beverly has more than I do. Then what does she want? Maybe she wants the same thing I do. Companionship. Someone to have coffee with. Someone who doesn't think I'm too old to start new things. You're not too old. But 2 months, Dad. It's fast. Your mother and I got engaged after 6 months. That was different. Why? Because I knew Mom. And whose fault is it that you don't know Beverly? I'd introduce you if you showed any interest beyond interrogating me. She stopped pacing, looked at me, really looked at me. You're different. How? You seem, I don't know, lighter. Like you're not carrying something heavy anymore. Maybe I'm not. But what about your future, your finances? Dad, are you being smart about money? And there it was, the real reason for the visit. Not Beverly, money. What about my finances, Joyce? I worry about you making big financial decisions without talking to family first. What if this woman talks you into something stupid? Like what? Like giving her access to your accounts, or co-signing for something, or changing your will. I kept my voice level. Are you having financial problems, Joyce? What? No. Why would you ask that? Because you borrowed $15,000 5 months ago and haven't paid back a penny. Because you're suddenly very interested in my financial situation. Because you're acting like I'm incompetent. I'm not, Dad. The $15,000 is coming. Norman's bonus got delayed, but it's coming. What's Norman's bonus have to do with money you borrowed? Silence. Joyce, I have to go. We'll talk about this later. Actually, let's talk about it now. Because I had an interesting conversation with my bank today. Her face went white. I found out about the withdrawals, Joyce. The ones you've been making from my account for the past 8 months. I have copies of the forged withdrawal slips. Dad, I also have recordings of you asking about my finances. And I have documentation of the $15,000 you borrowed and the pattern of lies about when you'll pay it back. You recorded me? I recorded a daughter who was trying to financially abuse her father. The question is, what are we going to do about it? She started crying. Dad, I'm sorry. I was desperate. Norman lost his job 6 months ago. We're behind on the mortgage. The kids' school fees are due. I didn't know what else to do. You could have asked. I tried to ask for the $15,000. You lied about that too. Norman didn't lose his job. I saw his LinkedIn. He got promoted 3 months ago. More silence. She slumped back into the chair. How much, Joyce? How much did you take? It wasn't much, just small amounts. When you had extra. I was going to pay it all back. How much? Maybe $4,000. Over several months. $4,200 to be exact. Plus the $15,000. That's $19,200 you've stolen from me. Stolen is a strong word. It's the right word. You forged my signature. You took money without permission. In Oregon, that's theft. It's also elder financial abuse, which carries federal penalties. She looked genuinely scared now. Dad, please. I'm sorry. I'll pay it all back. When? I don't know. Soon. As soon as I can. That's what you said about the $15,000. Joyce, here's what's going to happen. You're going to pay back every penny you stole, plus the $15,000. You're going to enter financial counseling, and you're going to sign a legal agreement that gives you no access to my finances ever again. If you don't agree to this, I file criminal charges. You'd really send me to jail? I'd really protect myself from someone who's been stealing from me, yes. She cried harder. What about the kids? What about Helen and Vernon? What about them? If I go to jail, what happens to them? Maybe you should have thought about that before you started forging checks. Dad, please. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't call the police. I looked at my daughter, really looked at her. She was 32 years old, crying like a child, begging me not to report her for stealing from her own father. Part of me wanted to just forgive her, to pretend this never happened, to go back to the way things were. But the way things were had led us here, to my daughter seeing me as an ATM instead of a person, to Christmas exclusions and leftover turkey invitations, to forged signatures and stolen money. Joyce, I need you to understand something. This isn't just about the money. It's about trust. It's about respect. It's about the fact that you've been lying to me for months while taking money from me. I know it's wrong. You just what? Decided I was too old to notice? Too stupid to figure it out? Too weak to do anything about it?" She didn't answer. "Here's what's going to happen," I said. "You're going to leave now. You're going to think about whether you want to handle this as a family matter with counseling and restitution, or whether you want me to let the police handle it. You have 48 hours to decide." She stood up slowly. "Dad, 48 hours, Joyce. That's it." After she left, I poured myself a scotch and called Beverly. "How did it go?" "She's been stealing from me for months." "Oh, Harold, I'm so sorry. I gave her 48 hours to agree to pay it back and get counseling, or I'm filing charges. That's the right thing to do. Is it? She's my daughter. Harold, she's also a grown woman who made a choice to steal from her father. You're not responsible for fixing her poor decisions. What if she doesn't agree? Then you follow through. Because if you don't, she'll know she can get away with anything." I knew Beverly was right, but it didn't make it any easier. Joyce called the next evening. She'd been crying. "Dad, I'll do it. Whatever you want, the counseling, the repayment plan, the legal stuff. Just please don't file charges. You sure about that?" "I'm sure. I talked to Norman. He's furious with me, but he agrees. What I did was wrong. Really wrong. Yes, it was. Can we meet tomorrow to work out the details? I'll have my lawyer there." "You got a lawyer?" "Joyce, you stole nearly $20,000 from me. Of course I got a lawyer. It took 3 months to sort everything out." Joyce paid back $4,200 in stolen withdrawals plus the $15,000 loan. She entered court-ordered financial counseling. We had supervised visits with Helen and Vernon until she completed the program. The hardest part wasn't dealing with Joyce. It was dealing with my own guilt. Leonard flew in from Chicago and helped me work through it. "Dad, you didn't make her steal from you. You didn't make her lie to you. You gave her every opportunity to be honest, and she chose deception instead. She's my daughter, and you're her father. That relationship goes both ways. She has responsibilities too. Beverly was incredible through all of it. She never said I told you so. She never pushed me to be harder on Joyce or easier on her. She just listened and supported whatever decisions I made. In March, something unexpected happened. Joyce called on a Saturday morning, and for the first time in months, she wasn't calling about the legal stuff or the money or the counseling. "Dad, I know this is going to sound weird, but would you like to come to Helen's spring concert? It's next Thursday at 7. You want me there? I want you there. Not because I have to invite you. Because I want you to see Helen play violin. She's been practicing this piece for months, and she's really good. And she asks about you." "What does she ask?" "She asks why Grandpa doesn't come to things anymore." And I realized I don't have a good answer for that. The answer is that I stopped inviting you because I was ashamed of what I'd done. But that's not fair to her, or to you. I went to the concert. Helen was amazing. After, she ran up to me with her violin case. "Grandpa, did you hear me play? Did I do good?" "You did great, sweetheart. I'm very proud of you." Joyce watched us from across the room. When Helen ran off to find her friends, Joyce came over. "Thank you for coming. Thank you for inviting me. I want to do this more. Family stuff. If you're willing, I'm willing. With boundaries, I understand." In May, Joyce completed her counseling program. She called me on a Saturday morning. "Dad, I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I want you to know that I understand what I did was wrong. Not just the money, the way I treated you, the way I made you feel like you were a burden instead of my father. Joyce, let me finish. I talked to my therapist about this, about you, about Mom dying and how I handled it. And I realized I've been angry at you. For what? For still being here. Mom died and you didn't. And I know that's horrible and unfair, but I couldn't help it. Every time I saw you, I was angry. You were alive and she wasn't. So I stopped seeing you. And then I felt guilty about that. So I kept my distance even more. And it became this cycle. I didn't know what to say. "I'm not asking you to change anything," she continued. "I'm asking you to let me try to be better, to be the daughter you deserve. You don't have to earn your place in my life, Joyce. Yes, I do. Because I lost it, and I want it back." We talked for 2 hours, really talked. She told me about work stress, about Norman's anxiety, about Helen's social struggles, and Vernon's ADD diagnosis. I told her about the photography club, about the trips I'd taken, about Beverly. "I want to meet her," Joyce said, "for real this time. Not because I'm suspicious, because she matters to you. She'd like that. We had dinner a week later. The four of us, Beverly, Joyce, Norman, and me, at Beverly's house. Norman was stiff at first, defensive, but Beverly had this way of asking questions that made people feel heard. By the end of the night, Norman was showing her photos of the kids and talking about his woodworking hobby. After they left, Beverly and I cleaned up. She's trying, Beverly said. She is. Are you going to trust her again? Gradually, with boundaries, with legal protections in place. But yes, I think so. She kissed my cheek. Good. Family's complicated, but it's worth fighting for. Spring came. Joyce called once a week, sometimes twice. She invited me to Helen's spring concert. I went. Norman's parents were there. Joyce introduced me to them properly this time. This is my dad, Harold. He's a photographer. In June, Joyce and Norman brought the kids to Portland for a weekend. We did the zoo, the science museum, the waterfront. Beverly joined us for dinner. Helen asked Beverly about teaching. Vernon showed her his rock collection. It felt like family. On Sunday morning, before they left, Joyce pulled me aside. Thank you, Dad. For what? For not giving up on me, for setting boundaries, for showing me what I was losing. You're my daughter. I wasn't giving up on you. I was giving up on being disappointed. I won't disappoint you again. Everyone disappoints everyone sometimes. That's not the point. The point is showing up anyway. She hugged me. I love you, Dad. I love you too. After they left, Beverly and I sat on her back porch with coffee. The morning was cool, the sky clear. You did good, she said. We're not fixed. It's going to take time. But you're trying. Both of you, yeah? And us? Are we still taking it day by day? I looked at her. Really looked at her. The silver in her hair, the laugh lines around her eyes, the way she held her coffee cup with both hands. I think, I said carefully, I'm ready to stop taking it day by day. What are you ready for? Tomorrow, next week, next month? All of it, she smiled. That's good. Because I already told my kids you're coming to Dorothy's wedding in August. You did? I did, as my date. Is that okay? That's more than okay. My phone buzzed, a text from Joyce. Can we do brunch next Sunday? Beverly too. Kids want to see you both. I showed Beverly. She grinned. See, you're stuck with us now. I can think of worse fates, and I meant it, because somewhere in the mess of being excluded from Christmas and setting boundaries and risking new love, I'd found something better than being included out of obligation. I'd found people who chose me, who wanted me there, who saw me as someone worth knowing. Sometimes the best revenge is just living well. Financial elder abuse often comes from those closest to us. Family members who exploit trust and use emotional manipulation to justify theft, making it crucial for seniors to monitor their accounts and set legal boundaries regardless of family relationships. True family bonds are built on mutual respect and genuine care, not obligation or financial dependency. When we stop accepting poor treatment and demand better, we often discover who truly values our presence versus our resources.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.